Okay, so I want to talk to you guys about self-tapes. So what is your first, are you guys making self-tapes? Are you currently doing that?
Yes.
Okay,
A lot.
so you're doing
I try to.
you're doing it yourself with your phone? Is that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, so, and how's it going? Has anybody gotten callbacks or booked anything from a self-tape?
No.
No.
Okay. So that's interesting because self-tapes are so phenomenal. I love doing self-tapes with people because we can get it to performance level, and I have people book all the time off their self-tapes and get callbacks and stuff like that. So are you guys using a reader on the other side? Who's reading for you on the other side?
A friend of mine who's also like an actor.
Oh, okay, great. Is that what you guys also are doing? Who's reading for you, Caprice?
Often my mom.
Okay, and how does she do?
Pretty good, actually.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, so look, my biggest suggestion is get coached for self-tapes. You can Skype with me if you want to Skype with me.
Okay.
That works really well. But have somebody, I like you to have somebody actually reading with you on the other side so it doesn't sound electronic. But if it sounds electronic, that's not going to make or break it, right? If you can't afford that, though, get a friend to do some exercises with you and, you know, really get loosened up and prepare a little bit. You see, with self-tapes, it's a little different because, you know, if you go in on an audition, you're not going to get all dressed up like a doctor or something like that. But if you do a self-tape, you can do a little bit more of that. You can suggest it, you know, and you can have props because most of the time the props are off camera. They're down here, the below camera, so you're not going to see it. But even if you do see it, I don't mind it. I have seen, actually in Nancy Drew Hidden Staircase, one of the actors that I cast, name is Evan Costello, and he read for the part of Derek, and he was kind of a bad guy, and he had this mirror that he put up for himself so he could look in the mirror and see that he had turned blue, right? So he actually had this prop, and it totally worked, and we hired him. Now, we didn't hire him because he used a prop, but I think that the prop really helped him feel it, you know. He was able to look in the mirror and really see himself, and then, you know, it was real for him. So I find that to a great degree. There's an actor also that I coach who I just coach him for the role, and then he goes and shoots his own self-tape, but he'll do it like if it's a scene in a car, he'll do it in his car. And he gets booked on big stuff. I think I told you this the other day. So he gets booked on really big movies doing that. But, you know, I mean, largely it's when you can come in, get really loosened up, get coached, and you get on camera and you're so alive and you're so in the moment and all that stuff that it's really, really great. And I know Susan doesn't love it because you don't go in and actually meet the casting director. Yeah, which is important. But it's especially important if you guys are going to listen to me from what I said yesterday about going in, doing research, knowing who this person is, and what this person has done before, and coming in like a real person. I mean, I can't stress this enough. You know, okay, this is the thing. Everybody on this side of the camera, including your agent and Susan and the administrators, right? They expect actors to just be totally self-obsessed. And we accept it. And so, but you don't want to be like that because then it's like, okay, next. When you come in as a person who knows about that person's work and has feeling toward it, you're making friends. You know, and actors always talk about, oh, I hate networking. Well, you hate networking because you're all about yourself, you know? Yeah. And yes, it's very, very uncomfortable when you're all about yourself. But when you've researched other people and you can go in and talk to them as an equal because you know what they've done, right? It's such a different thing. It really, really is. So every audition, should be an opportunity for you to make friends. That's your, this is your network of people because you guys are in the same business, right? So you have that in common. But don't act like a typical actor. Don't be just all about yourself. Be about other people, and then come in and do an audition that knocks their socks off because you know how to do it now. You know how to get out of your head. You know how to be really free and in the moment. And that's what everybody's looking for. And then on top of that, you're a real person that they can relate to. How great. Does this make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Susan, yes.
All right. I have always a big issue. When the sides come in, that's always, 24, 48 hours prior.
Right.
You don't have the script material to see what the whole thing's all about. You get the synopsis, a paragraph, and 2 lines regarding the character. Here's your sides. It can be very difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I do the kind of work I do, where you guys get out of your head and you start to intuitively get what the scene's about. See, when you're using your head to try to figure out what that scene is, it doesn't work. It's like, I don't understand. I'm confused about this part. But you guys get up here and you get on your feet and you start doing exercises with it. What happens?
It's easier. You're working your memory muscle, and it gets easier to memorize and get a better understanding of the character.
But you're starting to feel what it's about, right?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to understand it with your head. And do you notice when you stop and you try to understand it with your head, you get all wrapped up in that?
Yeah.
Because a few times you've wanted to do that, right? You go, oh, I don't know what's going on. So you try really hard to understand. I go, don't try to understand. I know you don't know what's going on. Let that intuitive part of you work, because it's going to, because you're out of your head, because you're playing. Yes, young Alex? Of course you can. You guys don't have to ask that. Yes, Shay.
So I had a question about readers, because I'm wondering if when you have a reader to read lines with you, like, first of all, okay, like, most of my friends are not actors. So I'm wondering if it's better to have a reader who's an actor, or if...
Oh,
so if I'm
looking
for one of my friends, they're going to be not... Most of them are non-actors, so they may or they might be kind of like...
Okay. I got you.
Stifled with the lines, and...
I got you.
And I've been working on the character for a while, but they're just like...
Well, you know what? You guys all know each other now.
How do you balance that out?
Well, why don't you guys exchange phone numbers? You're in the same general area, right? And why don't you guys do each other the favor of being on the opposite side of the camera? And then that gives you experience too. And you can do exercises together. If you can't get me, do the next best thing, which is use each other, right? And if you don't have somebody that's close by, coach with me if you can, right? Because Skype is amazing. And those Skype coachings, it's really incredible. I think they're almost more effective than in person, because you're on camera the whole time, so you're working the whole time. So it's really funny. It's like, it's so intense, because I'll do an hour coaching here with somebody and it's pretty loose, I do an hour coaching on Skype and they're like at the end going, oh my God, So that's really helpful.
Can we do a self-tape with you as the reader?
Yeah, I can be on the other end. You just turn me down so it's not too obnoxious, the electronic sound of it,
Okay.
But yeah, absolutely you can.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, great. So I think you guys got all that, right? And did that make sense to you, Susan, what I was saying?
Yes. So again, it reinforces when you're going to have an audition coming up, start doing all these exercises that count.
Yeah, because it's really going to help you to understand it from a feeling base, okay? So you're working opposite that most actors are working, right? So you get the script and you start making notes, right? You read it and you start using your brain and you start making notes. The problem with that is everybody's making basically the same notes because you're using your head. And when you're out of your head, when you use the exercises, you get really intuitive about it and you're figuring it out without your brain, something really different comes out. Different than if you're using your brain, because you're using that intuitive part of you. So something really fun will come out and really different. And that's why people book when they do this kind of work. Because they walk it. Okay, so let's say as a director, I have seen 25 people, and they're all doing basically the same thing, and they're all pretty good actors. And then somebody comes in, and they're just being really intuitive and live. That's waking us up, you know, and suddenly we're going, wow, I really like that person. Mm-hmm. Let's hire them, right? Yeah. So it's really, really different than using your head. Now you guys get all freed up and you don't know what you're doing, and even by the end of the scene, I know sometimes you're flying by the seat of your pants, right? Mm-hmm. You don't really know what's going on in the scene. But then you go sit down and you look at it and you go, oh, that's what's happening. And then when you go on camera, you're using the intuitive part of you, and you're also using your brain at that point.
Nice.
Right? But less of your brain and more of your intuitive. And that's where the balance should be. Not the opposite way, which is the usual way. Right? Okay, great.